Why are we so obsessed with heroes, villains, rebels, and sages? Why does every story, whether it's a Hollywood blockbuster or a timeless novel, seem to follow the same rhythm, the same familiar characters? What if I told you that beneath every movie plot, every fantasy epic, and every TV drama lies an invisible blueprint, a psychological framework that speaks to the deepest parts of our unconscious minds? That's not coincidence, it's archetype. And the man who decoded it? Carl Jung. Welcome, seekers of deeper meaning. You're tuned in to the unfolding journey, the space where mythology, psychology, and storytelling converge. Here, we explore the soul behind the stories, the symbols behind the scenes, and the meaning woven into the media we consume. If you crave depth in a world of surface, you're in the right place. Who is Carl Jung and what are archetypes? Carl Gustav Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst who founded what we now call analytical psychology. One of his most enduring contributions to modern thought is the concept of archetypes, universal, symbolic patterns embedded in the collective unconscious of humanity. In simple terms, archetypes are instinctual images and roles we all recognize, even without ever being taught. Think of them as the characters in the internal story we all tell ourselves. Jung didn't invent these. He discovered them through dream analysis, myths, religion, and art across cultures and centuries. The key archetypes Jung identified include the hero, the shadow, the anima and animus, the wise old man or woman, the trickster, the mother, the child, the persona, the self. Each archetype represents a fundamental human motivation, emotion, or character. They're not just characters in stories, they're forces within our own psyche. Archetypes in modern media, the eternal return. Let's start with something familiar. Luke Skywalker, Harry Potter, Katniss Everdeen, Frodo Baggins. What do they all have in common? They're all heroes. But more than that, they are manifestations of what Jung called the hero archetype. The hero's journey, a term popularized by Joseph Campbell, is essentially an archetypal narrative pattern. The call to adventure, refusal of the call, mentorship, trials, transformation, and return. Every time you watch a story where a seemingly ordinary person undergoes an extraordinary transformation, you're witnessing this archetype in action. But here's the catch. The archetype doesn't just exist in the story. It speaks to the part of you that longs to rise to a challenge, to overcome the inner and outer demons, and to return wiser. Take Neo in The Matrix. He's not just a hacker turned messiah. He represents the ego waking up to the true self. Morpheus, the wise old man guiding the way. Agent Smith, the shadow, everything Neo must confront within himself. Archetypes in literature, mirrors to the soul. Long before Netflix, archetypes were shaping the literary canon. Shakespeare's plays are teeming with them. Macbeth as the tragic hero succumbing to his shadow, Hamlet as the brooding, introspective seeker. In Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, we see Victor Frankenstein as the overreacher, akin to the creator archetype gone too far. The monster as the abandoned child, the shadow, and the other, all rolled into one. Jane Eyre offers a wonderful exploration of the anima and animus. Mr. Rochester, the brooding male, awakens Jane's animus, her inner masculine strength. Meanwhile, Jane herself is a blend of the innocent and the warrior, challenging Victorian gender roles. Modern literary works like The Hunger Games and Game of Thrones continue this tradition. Tyrion Lannister, a blend of the trickster and the sage. Daenerys, a tragic warrior queen, battling her own shadow as much as her enemies. The dark side, shadow, and projection in media. Jung insisted that confronting our shadow, the repressed, darker parts of our psyche, is essential for personal growth. Modern media gives us a safe container to experience these shadows. Villains like the Joker, Darth Vader, Voldemort, or even Walter White are embodiments of the shadow. But they're not just bad guys. They're the mirror of the hero. Often, the line between them is razor thin. Take Walter White in Breaking Bad. His descent into darkness isn't just a plot twist. It's the unveiling of the shadow that always existed beneath his mild-mannered persona. The thrill for viewers? Watching someone embrace what most of us suppress. This is why we're drawn to antiheroes. They reflect the messy complexity of our own psyche. They live out the desires we deny. They say what we're afraid to say. And through them, we encounter ourselves. Gendered archetypes, the anima and animus. Jung proposed that every man carries an inner feminine, anima, and every woman, an inner masculine, animus. These aren't about biological gender, they're about psychic balance. In literature and media, this is explored through character dynamics. In Inception, Ariadne is Cobb's Anima, a symbolic guide into the unconscious. In Frozen, Elsa embodies the icy, distant animus before reintegrating warmth, anima, through connection. Gender-fluid and non-binary characters in contemporary media also challenge us to rethink rigid archetypes, pointing toward Jung's ultimate goal: wholeness, or what he called individuation. The Trickster and the Age of Irony. Enter the Trickster, chaotic, funny, irreverent, subversive. Think Loki from Marvel, Bugs Bunny, or even Deadpool. Tricksters disrupt order to reveal truth. In an age obsessed with irony and satire, the trickster is the dominant archetype. They expose the absurdity of modern life. They don't play by the rules, and that's their power. But beware, when the trickster lacks self-awareness, they can become cynical or nihilistic. Jung would say they're possessed by the archetype rather than working with it. The return to the self, individuation in modern narratives. Ultimately, all archetypes point to one journey: the path to the self. The self, in Jungian terms, is the full realization of who you are, beyond your ego, fears, and masks. It's wholeness. Individuation is the process of becoming yourself by integrating all parts: hero and shadow, anima and animus, persona and soul. Some stories capture this beautifully. In Avatar, The Last Airbender, Aang's journey isn't just about defeating the Fire Lord. It's about integrating all four elements within himself. In Everything Everywhere All at Once, Evelyn's chaotic multiversal journey becomes a spiritual path toward meaning, connection, and self-realization. Archetypes aren't just story tools. They are psychological truths. Media doesn't just entertain, it initiates. Every book, film, or game that captivates you is, at some level, speaking to your soul. Understanding Jungian archetypes gives us a powerful lens. It helps us read stories, not just on the screen or the page, but in our own lives. You are the hero. You carry the shadow. You seek the wise guide. And ultimately, you are on the path to becoming the self. If you enjoyed peeling back the layers of meaning behind your favorite stories, don't stop here. Backhand index pointing right, subscribe to The Unfolding Journey for more videos like this, where we decode the symbols of cinema, literature, and mythology to help you understand the world, and yourself, more deeply. Hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next, because your journey has just begun.